It's Monday, October 4th. Coming up live on The View. Kickstart your week with the hottest topics on TV. From the mixed messages over the international terror alert to CNN firing Rick Sanchez after his radio rant about Jon Stewart. And what Lindsay Lohan's mom told Barbara about her daughter's rehab. Plus, California Senator Barbara Boxer is one of the women changing the political landscape. And she's visiting the Red, White, and View to expose how un-PC politics can get. From the ugly mudslinging, and if she thinks her opponent crossed the line when her attacks got personal. Then, medium John Edward is telling you why everyone has the power to contact the other side and showing you how to unlock your ability to touch the great beyond. All that, hot topics and more, coming up live on The View.
To a day of hot topics right here on The View. We are not fooling around. It is wet out there today. I'm freezing. I think I'm getting a cold. I don't know what's happening. But more important than
that, you won't
that,
have a hot flash today because it's cold. It really is cold. Yeah.
it's
Do you realize our audience had to stand in the rain to come to thank you?
You stood in the
So we
rain.
want
And you know, go ahead, baby.
5 hours, someone said they had.
Wow. Well, we're going to reward you because we're going to give you some hot tip that you don't know. That you don't know about. You don't know about.
A car with me.
No. I'm not, you know. But this is a pretty good tip. Now, Barbara, you've got some really interesting information over the weekend.
I did. So my phone rang, and it was Dina Lohan, who is Lindsay's mother,
right?
and much talked about. You know, we talk about Lindsay all the time as if she's 17. Lindsay's now 24. Mm-hmm. You know, this is getting to be a grown woman. Anyway, what Dina wanted to say in general, that she's still having conflict with the ex-husband, who, and you know, you said this, no, I didn't. And Dina feels that she herself has been maligned as this mother who's out at night, you know, dancing with her daughter, and that is not true. That she's a very reliable and very good mother. There are 3 other children. The son just graduated summa cum laude from Ithaca. Mm-hmm. The son, Michael's 22, daughter, Allie, 16, and another boy of 14. Mm-hmm. All very responsible, terrific children. They are all going to visit Lindsay at Betty Ford, where she is now. There's going to be a family week, and the family all goes and, I guess, interacts. Mm-hmm. She's supposed to be there for 30 days, according to her mother, who had just talked to her. She's doing very well. Good. She has 24 more days left, and then October 22nd, the judge will rule on the misdemeanor violation and decide whether Lindsay goes back to rehab or goes to jail. But in the meantime, she's trying very hard to work through her problems.
My family used to go to the cemetery for vacation. The Lohans go to the Betty Ford Center. It's like a whole other way of seeing the world.
The concern I have is the cemetery.
They did.
Cemetery. The concern I have is go for 30 days because it seems like Lindsay has had so many
I agree.
complications. 30 days seems like a little. Not enough time, but you said that the Betty Fords...
What I suspect will happen is that once she's had enough time with them, they will evaluate and see how much time they feel she needs to also put in. But I think 30 days is a good amount of time to figure out if somebody's going to really, you know, get into the program, or whether they're just there biding time. You know, you can't do it in a week. It takes about a month to find out if somebody actually wants to do it. And I suspect that they will then sit down and say, well, we think you need to be here X, Y, Z, and they'll probably talk to the courts as well.
But I agree with you, Sherry, that 30 days in order to really get over a drug addiction. It is a disease, as she has said. It isn't enough. I mean, it can take years. It's very rarely that it's just 30 days.
It's obviously a unique situation. Do you always answer your phone? Because I find it fascinating that, I mean,
we can never get her.
Calls Barbara.
We
like,
never
I
get her
only
on the
get
phone.
robocalls. I think it's amazing. Like, it could be Ahmadinejad, it could be Dina Lohan, Fidel Castro probably called you at one point. I mean, I would never not answer my phone if I were you, Barbara, because you never know. That is fascinating to me.
Do you guys even have Barbara's phone number?
Of course, I call you all the time.
I have Barbara's phone number.
I bother Barbara all the time.
Everybody seems to have my phone number.
But you know, it's what's really funny is that when
Jed did not call.
But he could at any time, is my point. You know he will call you one day for an interview.
if we did, we want you to tell us. You know, people always blame the parents when the child, you know, like you said, we keep treating Lindsay like she's 17. I don't know if it's because of the behavior patterns that she exhibits, but, you know, how long does Dina and her father have to be, you know, blamed for Lindsay being an adult making certain choices? You raise your kids with values, and you hope that when they get to an age that they'll make the right decisions.
Listen. I had a daughter, and I have written about her. I have a daughter whom I adore, who is simply wonderful, and went through, and she talks about it, a bad period. You did this with your child. To this day, and my daughter is terrific, and I adore her. She's wonderful. To this day, I feel guilty. I sent her to the wrong school. I should have done this. I don't think you ever get over the... You know, she doesn't. She's fine.
Well,
she says, you
someone
know,
said to me the other day a very interesting phrase. This is more of a psychoanalytic position, which is, if you're hysterical, it's historical. So there are things in your early years that contribute to your later years that people need to investigate.
Well,
meaning parents.
Yeah, well, no, for Lindsay herself. If you're hysterical, which she is in some weird way, it's historical. It's very interesting.
It is.
wow. Well, I tell you, we'll move on to something else because that needs a moment to seep in.
Okay.
We're getting deep here.
Yeah.
We're deep here today on The View.
That was me being hysterical. Will that be historical? We don't know. But U.S. citizens traveling abroad are now warned to be alert and take appropriate safety measures in the wake of a European terror alert. Possible commando-style attacks at 5 or more airports throughout Europe, as well as hotels. And, you know, you're getting ready to...
I was going to be going.
You're not going?
But,
not anymore.
well, I don't think so because, I mean, they're telling you stay away from airports and the targets are airports and hotels. What, am I going to be homeless when I get there? I mean, I don't know, and I don't want to live a week there with the anticipation of being killed.
Sure, when you hear the word
It's not
commando.
exactly a vacation anymore. You know what I mean? It's like, come on.
Are they giving the same alert over there?
Yes.
Well, I saw a British Secret Service, Homeland Security guy today say that the Brits have told their people, do not travel abroad, don't go to the other countries. Well, they're only telling Americans it's an alert. Be vigilant, they're telling you. What does that mean, be vigilant? If they see you as an American, you're a target, I would think.
On one of the programs, they had Michael Chertoff, who had been the former head of Homeland Security. So, I mean, what bothers me, and I think it's it's a mixed message.
Yeah.
Be alert, travel, have a good time, but don't go to an airport. Be careful. So what do you mean by being alert? Well, they said don't wear an American flag in your T-shirt. Okay, thanks a lot. If you see an empty package, you know, tell somebody. I mean, what does it mean to be alert? These warnings are so... I guess they have to protect what they're saying. But, I mean, it's a warning that's not a warning. We don't know what to do.
This on the heels, too. I mean, I remember, was it last week or the week before when the president said we have absorbed something like this and we can handle it if possible. I mean, you hope that some people thought it was, you know, way too cavalier of a statement to make.
Maybe it's here.
Right, but also, you know, obviously it translates. I mean, the panic and the worry and the precaution also starts to occur here as well.
Well, that's
I mean,
part of their trick, isn't it, these terrorists, to scare people into not continuing to tour.
There's a very fine line between going about your business and...
They're going to lose a lot of money.
I got to tell you, I am panicked, and I have to go.
She has to go.
You gotta go
I have to go finish out Sister Act.
And you don't like flying anyway.
No, and also, you know, I don't like the idea that you know, I'm glad that they're letting us know that to be aware of something. But I just, you know, it's too hard to figure out what I should be scared of. So, you know, I'm just going to go and, you know...
Take your chances.
Take my chances. And if, for some reason, I get into some stuff, know that I love y'all.
Can I say that?
If they would give it as a warning, though, Barbara, it seems to me the American government would say it's a warning. Maybe the airlines can then give your money back to you, and hotels can do.
They're not in the business of giving money back. The airlines, you can never get your money back.
It's really just covering their behinds.
Well, listen, you know, the largest airline in the Philippines wants to show passengers that flight safety doesn't have to be boring. And here's what they're doing about it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the cabin crew who will demonstrate the safety features of this aircraft. Each seat is provided with a seatbelt. To fasten, push ends together.
You see, there's a message. It's not just, isn't it cute? Most of the time, if you've traveled before, when they start to show you what to do with your seatbelt, and where your life preserver is, your eyes listen, you worry about it sitting here. You know, we have a life preserver right under the desk for you because you worry about it right here, don't you?
That's the first time we've ever paid attention to it.
I am not a fan of airplanes. I've never made any bones about that. But, you know, I know if they're showing me this, I need to know.
But you know,
and even if you fly 1,000,000 times, I'm sorry, you know, in a panic, when people are panicking, they run any old direction. I want to know where I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm going that way to the door.
But you know
How many people read the directions that are in the back of the...
But I think that a lot of people have read it, you know, a few times, and we go, well, you know what, I know where it is. I try to read it once before it takes off, but when I see them, they don't, even the flight attendants look like they're like, you know, here's the seatbelt, here's the oxygen tank. They look like they don't even get into it.
The thing is that it's
a great way to do it. That's how you teach kids. Everyone will pay attention that way.
It's scary to hear those instructions. I want to hear them say, the plane ride is 100% safe. Now let's dance. I don't want to hear these instructions because it makes me nervous.
But then
so dance and sing. I think maybe that
I
would
like
take
the dancing and singing. Makes you look up and pay attention.
I don't care if you dance and sing, strip on a pole.
That'd be good.
Just let me know what direction to go. Because, you know, they give you that thing, and she puts it around her neck and blows it up from here. And I think, I'm not going to know where that damn straw is. Hers is already ready to go, but I got to pull mine out and figure out what to do.
There's a string that you pull, too, if you can't find the straw.
Please,
That's going to help you. I mean, really.
I bring my own parachute. I'm not going to lie.
Okay. After we've done all this and you say, I just want to thank the airlines because they are trying to make it safe.
Way to travel.
Exactly. And
it
they
really
do.
is.
Right, and they do try to... If we're not watching, that's our problem.
We're not afraid of flying, we're afraid of crashing. That's the point.
Agreed. I second that.
Or to sum it up, if you're hysterical, it's historical.
It's historical.
That's right.
That's right.
So,
Did you figure out what that meant yet?
I think hysterical, you know, it's either way you look at it. But when we come back, we're coming back with more Hot Topics. That's just the damn way it is. You know, Rick Sanchez, who is an anchor at CNN, he has his own show. The reason Barbara said had is because he was fired by CNN over a radio show rant about the Daily Show host, Jon Stewart, and it got out of hand. Take a look.
Stewart's a minority as much as you are.
Come on. How is he a minority? Yeah.
Rick.
Very powerless people.
Whoa.
But you're such a minority. I mean, you know, please. What are you kidding?
You're telling me that...
I'm telling you that everybody who runs CNN is a lot like Stewart. And a lot of people who run all the other networks are a lot like Stewart. And to imply that somehow the people in this country who are Jewish, are an oppressed minority? Yeah.
Correct this. Wow. First of all, I just want to correct. I work over at CNN, right? The man who fired Sanchez is a German American. He is not Jewish. His boss is a guy who's a WASP, I believe. They are not all Jewish. Ted Turner is not Jewish. This guy is off base, completely off base, and he should have been fired, in my opinion.
Do you know, there's also been one of the most anti-Semitic things that have been said year after year is that the Jews control the media. You know, we have heard that. We can go through the list of all the non-Jews, but he should have been fired. But there are some people, what CNN said is Rick Sanchez is no longer with the company. We thank him and wish him well. A man named Sam Rubin wrote an opinion piece, and he said that wasn't enough. He said what it should have said is, in light of Rick Sanchez's radio interview, we have fired him. Sanchez's views and our views are anti-Semitic, demand an immediate response, and our response is this: we have asked him to leave CNN immediately. That just to say we thank him and we wish him well is not enough.
And maybe justified in saying that. I mean, agreed. That was incredibly offensive. I mean, he's going to be the next one in like a offensive rehab or something. But I think that he should be. It is.
With
And
Mel
anytime,
Gibson.
right? Exactly. The two of them together.
Yeah.
That's maybe roommates in
They
rehab.
could be bunker mates.
You know, Jon Stewart has made fun of Rick Sanchez, and Rick Sanchez could have made fun of Jon Stewart for his talent.
But not
you know, I don't
because
like
he's
what he's
Jewish.
doing, but not that he's Jewish.
You know, when you're the question is, when you express your personal views, is he held to a higher standard because he's a journalist? If anybody else came on here, a comedian or something like that.
The question is judgment. I mean, how objective is he? He calls himself a journalist. We don't call ourselves
Anti-Semitism is
that.
anti-Semitism, no matter who it
And
comes from.
then the man who hired him is Jewish. The man who fired him is not Jewish. So he's off bait. He's just using it to blame somebody for his failings.
He shot himself in the foot, is what he did.
It's, you know, Rick Sanchez knows that the blender at CNN is not necessarily Jewish.
Right.
It's just not. And he knows that because he's sitting over there. He is a Cuban American.
Yeah. Right.
So clearly, that can't be all that's going on. But I will ask you this question. When you hear things like this, and you think, shouldn't you do your homework? Shouldn't you know? If you're talking about who's oppressed and not oppressed, is that sort of... Should he have been fired for really dumbness?
Yes,
you know, it's
that's what
interesting
he's been fired for.
when you
can't fire people for
read
dumbness.
it, okay?
Well,
when you read
A
the quote,
journalist who says something dumb all the time, why are they on television?
dumb and offensive are different things. I mean, we hear plenty of dumb things all the time. I think it's offensive or something that may then come across as something that's anti-Semitic. When you hear him, it's actually different, too, than when you just read it. You know, you read it and you think, yes, that's offensive. When you hear it, there seems to be, and this is just opinion because you never know someone's heart completely, but it seems to be, there seems to be an ingredient of like bitterness in there. You know what I mean? Like you hear something in there, and I think it's one of those things that you just know it when you see it. And I would imagine that's
I mean,
what's
I
getting
think he
him the
also
axe.
talked about the fact that he came from watching his father or grandfather, and they were oppressed, and they had it hard.
Everybody's got a story.
I agree with you. So I don't know if that's what you're talking about, you know, that bitterness coming through.
Yeah,
of watching
he's
his.
a little
something
bitter
there.
because I
It's
think he
undeniable.
feels that he's been maligned by Jon Stewart quite often. And then when the gentleman said, you know, but he's had a tough time too, you know, he's Jewish. And I think Rick just spoke and didn't think.
Good for CNN. They fired him, and they should
I wonder
have.
if Fox would
But
have fired him.
I do agree with Sam Rubin. I think they should have said why they fired him and said, we
What do you
just
mean?
wish you well.
I'm just wondering what another network would have done.
I think another network would have done exactly
they
the
would have
same
done the
thing.
same
They would have
thing.
had to.
Yeah, I think they would have had to.
That's off limits.
Well, let me ask you this. You know, former Governor Eliot Spitzer, who resigned after a call girl scandal, will be co-hosting his own show on CNN.
That is so
Beginning tonight. Now,
On CNN?
yes, on
So they're
CNN.
replacing-
So maybe replacing Rick Sanchez,
I'm
who
not
can
saying,
say?
I'm just
Just saying.
just saying. I'm not
Is
saying.
this
I'm just
out of
saying.
left field? Is this crazy? Should he be doing a show on CNN? Should CNN have maybe taken a moment?
It's so inspiring in a way. He went from a John to an Elliot. It's fabulous, you know. But here's
By
the
the way,
thing.
there's a partner we should mention.
That doesn't diminish Eliot Spitzer's knowledge and his experience about what he's bringing to CNN. Was he formally charged with?
No, he was not.
He didn't serve any
no,
time.
no.
It's weird as first
Well,
guess
I mean,
is
the
Ashley
homegirl-
Dupre.
Ashley Dupre, it was a journalist. Well, I don't want to say, excuse me, Barbara, I'm sorry. I don't want to say journalist. She was an advice columnist at a newspaper. That's why I said, I'm sorry. I didn't want
I will
to tell
say,
you like
you know,
that.
we've stood true to form. You know, Johns never get pulled up by anybody. They never go to jail. Nobody ever talks about the John except for this time. They talked about Elliot,
He's
but
inspiration
he's
to all the
inspired
Johns.
Do the time,
Can we forgive and forget and let him get on with his
Sure, I
life?
think we've done it in other areas
wife
of
can do
work.
it. I don't see why I
He
can't.
does it. Exactly. That's true.
I would just like to say one thing when you almost said that Ashley was a journalist.
Yeah, I take it
Ashley
back.
was not a journalist, and I am not now, nor have I ever been a call girl.
There you go. Thank you for clearing that
Or
up,
an
Barbara.
advice columnist. Or an advice columnist.
On that note, I'll be doing some investigating myself. But we'll be right back with more Hot Topics. wanted to say something.
I wanted to say something about something I said. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. I made this joke about Carl Palladino, this guy, this Tea Party candidate, I believe he is, who's running for governor of New York. And, you know, he was in this whole scandal where his mistress had a child and da-da-da-da-da. So I made a joke that he'll win if all his illegitimate children voted, okay? So, all right, it's funny, and I got an email from his manager, you know, and I thought about it, and I said, you know, I was wrong to do that because the children are not illegitimate. The children are out of wedlock, and I don't like that children think of themselves as illegitimate. No child is illegitimate. So for the sake of the joke, I went there, and I apologize, frankly. I apologize. I know, but this is children.
Yeah, this is children.
I'll make a joke about grown-ups all the time, but for kids, no, you know? So that's where I'm at. Okay, thank you for that.
Now, Lizzie, you wanted to say something about the NFL.
You're not fired.
You wanted to say something about the NFL?
Yes, you know, I had love-hate relationship with the games yesterday. Number one, I want to thank all the NFL players in the NFL for wearing pink for breast cancer research. It was outstanding to support women in that way. And number two, there's Drew Brees, Mark Sanchez. I just felt, as watching it as a family, and I'm trying to watch it with a 1-year-old, a 2 3/4-year-old, and a 5-year-old, the violent ads that come across on these networks in between game time, okay, in between the timeouts, it's too much. I think it was over 500 ads last year in 2009, had some form of violence, sex, guns being drawn. I think if everyone could just get a little bit more responsible, it is a family game. There are great lessons to be learned in it. If they could just curb it a bit, that would be a little bit more.
There was something else that bothered you, too, that you saw in an ad.
Well, yeah, the Seahawks lost, and that bothered me. But yes, erectile dysfunction, sponsoring segments throughout the games. I don't need to hear.
Have the first word be Viagra.
No.
It should be Mama.
And they know it now, so I was hoping we could maybe make it a little bit more family-friendly at 1 p.m. The late games, go for it. The 1 p.m. games.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on that and see if it's going to be too hard to do.
Oh, yeah, baby. No pun intended.
And now, a word from our sponsor.
Yes, our sponsor, Advil. They've launched a consumer safety campaign about the importance of cleaning out your medicine cabinet. We clean out our bedrooms, kitchens, and living rooms, but most of us don't think about cleaning out the place where we store our medicine. Susie Cohen, author of 24-Hour Pharmacist, has partnered with Advil and stopped by to give us a few tips on how to clean out our medicine cabinets. Here's what she had to say.
It's so important to do this, especially with cough and cold season right around the corner. Like so many people, my medicine cabinet can become cluttered too. So a good first step is to check out the expiration date on your products. Just about everything has a date. And if the product is expired or it's been recalled, you need to properly dispose of it right away. To find out more information on how to do this, just go to FDA.gov or ask your local pharmacist.
Thank you, Susie. And to help make sure you have an effective over-the-counter pain reliever in your medicine cabinet, Advil is providing 500,000 free bottles. Log on to our website for more information. It is such a simple step that can really help keep our families safe. And guess what? Members of our studio audience are getting medicine cabinet gift bags.
All right. I just want to know, are the liquid gels in there? Because I live by those.
The liquid gels?
Yeah, the liquid gels work great for my back, child. Listen, when we come back, we're coming back with Senator Barbara Boxer. Fabulous woman.
Season long, we've been looking at some of the women making headlines and perhaps changing the game in politics, like California Democratic Senator Barbara Boxer, who was locked in a fiery, contentious political battle against her opponent, Carla Fiorina, the former CEO of Hewlett-Packard, who, by the way, we also asked to be in the program. She declined. There's a whole lot at stake in this race. Not only is Senator Boxer's 4th term hanging in the balance, but if she loses her seat, it also puts Republicans one step closer to taking control of the Senate. Please welcome, from California, Senator Barbara Boxer. Thank you so much. Thank you. You were sitting here at the desk so people cannot see. You're teeny tiny. You look much bigger when we see.
Yes, a lot of people say that when they see me, and I say when I started out I was 6 feet, But it's been so many years of getting pounded on. I'm down to 5 feet.
But you've had a long time because you had 5 terms in the House, 3 terms in the Senate, 10 years in the House, 18 years in the Senate. And this is your toughest re-election fight.
Yes.
So you are just 9 points, is that right, ahead of Carla Fiorina?
Well, we hope so. That would be good. You know, we hope so.
If people go out and vote, they need to go out and vote. People waited 5 hours online to come here. Go and vote. It's very important this year.
Okay, by the way, I'm being told in my ear by our producer that Carla Fiorina did not decline. I guess she just hasn't said yes. I just want to be fair. Okay. So what does this mean, that there is this kind of a battle? And is it perhaps because it's 2 women for the first time running against each other?
I don't think that's the case. I mean, it's very interesting to have 2 women running against each other. It's what I fought for my whole life. And I think both parties are turning to women now. But we're also proving that women are not all alike. Whatever the issue, we're very, very different, which makes it a very intriguing and very important and very interesting race. But I think, you know, these are tough times, Barbara, and you all know this. In my state, we need jobs, we need to get our economy back on track. And so people want to make sure who's on their side. And so I've always been on their side, and I'm fighting hard. And I think the differences are stark, particularly in the area of jobs, where I'm working 24/7 with the president, with members of both parties in the Senate to create jobs. When my opponent had the chance, and you were asking me about this, when she was the CEO of HP, she laid off 30,000 workers. She shipped thousands of jobs to China, to India.
Talk about it nationally rather
that's
than...
right. I mean,
what we're saying now is that you've been, 28 years, and it's a Republican who's gaining. So it says something about the race nationally that Democrats are being rejected.
Well, and also they also feel that this $800 billion stimulus plan was a failure in your state alone. I mean, over 500,000 jobs lost. California is one of the top 4 states in foreclosures right now. So when you say you support that, you think it's a success, which you have, do you worry about losing touch with those voters?
No, as a matter of fact, I've met the voters who are working, whether it's the expansion of the Sacramento airport or the 805 freeway or the 405 freeway or anywhere up and down our state. We've saved police officer jobs. We have energy jobs being created right now. But you're absolutely right. It's not enough. But here's the deal. If I tell you I think the stimulus saved 3.5 million jobs, you may look at me and say, well, you know, Barbara Boxer's defending her vote. The fact is, Mark Zandi, who was John McCain's economic advisor, and Alan Blinder, who's a very well-respected Democratic economist, agreed. Without the stimulus, without the Economic Recovery Act, we would have seen another 3.5 million jobs lost. We would have been staring at a Great Depression.
And
we walked it back. Well, they are starting to.
Well, they're also fearing taxes, too. I mean, over the course of your decade, some would argue that there was almost $1 trillion in taxes that you voted in support of. So I think they're fearing now, having having those comfortable jobs, unemployment at 12.4%, that, oh my gosh, now I'm going to be faced with a tax increase.
Well,
so they're
Elizabeth, I voted for the biggest tax cut in history. It was part of the Economic Recovery Act, and I voted for trillions of dollars in tax cuts, 1.2 trillion to be exact. The fact of the matter is we need to make sure that the middle class gets those tax cuts. But people like my opponent, the millionaires and the billionaires, and the companies who ship jobs overseas like she did, don't deserve those tax cuts. We've got to bring that money home and give it to the middle class and give it to the companies who create jobs here in America.
Let me broaden this again.
Sure.
The Republicans seem to be gaining. We'll know in November when they are. What is this saying about Democrats? What is this saying about Obama? What is this change that now seems to have the Republicans, including your opponent, rising?
Well, first of all, my opponent is not rising. I'm rising in the polls at the moment. I'm not sanguine. This is a hard and tough race. Do you know Karl Rove has come in, spent $1 million against me? We have the outside business.
Can we just answer, what is it in general? Get away from you. And what is this saying about this country?
It's hard to do, but I will try. I will absolutely try. The pundits have already decided that the Democrats are losers. We're going to lose, lose, lose. There's only one problem with that. The voters haven't voted yet, Barbara. They haven't weighed in yet. And I think, I think the voters matter. And I think the president is being far more articulate about this. Listen, when he took the keys to the Oval Office, I'm not talking about my race, I'm talking about him. He inherited the worst situation since FDR in the Great Depression. The worst situation. Maybe people are tired.
It's historical. Go ahead.
I think people may be tired of hearing it, but I like to tell the truth. That's the truth. And what happened is, when the president took the keys to the Oval Office, he had a $1.3 trillion deficit. When we worked with Bill Clinton, we handed George Bush a surplus and 23 million new jobs. George Bush handed off a huge deficit and the worst job creation since the Great Depression. 1 million net new jobs.
Are people aware that they could go back to that exact situation and still seem to be angry with the Democrats?
Of course they're aware. What about the promise to them of unemployment not going over 8.5 or 9% and it now at 12 in your state?
Let me just ask this, because
they don't have jobs.
Okay, but I'm not sure that it's the government's problem. A lot of corporations are out of the
promise and break it. People remember.
Here's the issue, and I think President Obama puts it in the best way. He says, do you want to give the keys to the car back to the people who drove it into the ditch? Or do you want to keep trying and moving and creating jobs? And that's the difference between myself and my opponent.
An interesting point that you made was that you were talking about the length of time that you've been in. You know, our economy has gone like this over this period of time. And, we have upturns and downturns and side turns. And it's great that two women are in there. And you've made very clear that this person who put jobs overseas may not be the right person. But now, do you think that a lot is made of the fact that it's two women? Do you think that they would be dealing with you differently if it wasn't two women?
I have to say I feel good about it. I think that the press is treating us both well, fairly. They're tough. I mean, some of these press conferences are just like public floggings for both of us. I mean, it's tough times out there. It's okay. But I don't think that it's been a particular issue. I think the lesson here, though, is proven that just as Sarah Palin, who endorsed my opponent, and Hillary Clinton, who's been my longtime supporter, are women. They're different. Carly Fiorina and Barbara Boxer are quite different. This is healthy. There's nothing wrong with it.
By the way, the other senator,
both parties are turning to women.
The other senator in your state's a woman.
That's right.
That's right.
And she's my chairman of my campaign, Dianne Feinstein, and I love you, Dianne.
Okay.
Nancy Pelosi.
And she's from California. Yes.
Our thanks. As you can see, this is why we're doing that. There's a lot to talk about. Senator, we thank you, Senator Barbara Boxer. And we hope to hear from Carla Fiorina as well. We'll be right back.
Psychic medium John Edward has helped millions to touch the great beyond, and in his new book, Infinite Quest, he says we all may have the power to contact the other side. So please welcome back John Edward. Hello, darling. Hello. So now, I love the idea that you think that maybe everybody has some psychic potential. What exactly does that mean? Does it mean they're going to be like the kid in that movie that saw dead people? What does it mean?
It means that we all have the ability to connect with energy, and if we know what to call it, I always say if we raise awareness, we can take action. So this book is about raising awareness to take action, and that action is to recognize the energy that's around us, and not just to connect with the other side, but how to make empowered decisions and choices.
What, is it different from intuition?
It's exactly intuition, but taking it, we just got to take it one step further and say, what do we do with it? A lot of people get a hit on something, and they're like, oh my God, and they stop there. I want you to take it one step further and say, well, what do I do with this information in a logical way? Not like oh my God, there's something wrong and I have to stop it. No, it's just...
John, I'm one of the skeptics that you talk about because I don't believe in this talking to the dead, and I can go through this more with you. But one of the things you talk about is that you have a guardian angel, and the guardian angel is what helps you talk to those who have crossed over. Where do we each get a guardian angel? Is this a voice in your head? Is this, what is a guardian angel?
Let's go. And you could get millions of them.
No, I think that we all have energy, and I don't really call it just a guardian angel. I mean, people call it guardian angels. I call it a team, actually.
Well, no, you also talk about having a guide.
Guides.
Yeah,
G-U-I-D-E-S.
G-U-I-D-E, a real guide.
But
What is this
in the book
guide?
I refer to it as a team of energies, and I use the example for here. You guys all have a team of people that make this show happen. You're all amazing at what you do, but behind that wall, you have a team of amazing people that help make this show take place.
Where is this guide? Is it in your head? Is it this guide?
Guides, plural. There's more than one.
Guides.
Think about it as me having a team of invisible producers that kind of help me, give me information with what I do. But we all have them. I'm not special.
They don't talk to you.
They talk to all of us.
Do you choose them?
No.
So
some people say if you hear voices, you could be schizophrenic.
Some people do say that, and
John doesn't hear
I don't
voices.
hear voices.
Well, he says they speak to him.
In an energetic kind of.
Like a nudge. You're saying more like a nudge.
More like a knowing. Like if you guys have a daydream, like there are people that are watching this right now that have daydreams, or they have this thought that pops in their head, and they're random and they come out of nowhere. When you think about someone in your life that you have not talked about or talked to, and call them and say, "What's up? Everything okay? Everything good?" And watch them react to you. They'll turn around and say, "Oh my God, I was just thinking about you."
Now that's funny that you call it guides. I guess it's so funny as a Christian, we call it like maybe the Holy Spirit will nudge us, or God will nudge us to say, call so-and-so to say, I'm praying for you.
It's the same thing. It's just a different terminology.
So then how do you go from knowing that we all have this potential to actually going, I'm a psychic, I can help you, Joy?
I think that we're...
Help me with what?
Well,
you know.
I think that we're all psychic, and it's like I say this. I put
psychic?
it. I think we all are, and I say it in the book. You're not that special. I'm not that special. It's just energy. It's a matter of reacting to the energy and what you do with it.
What do you do with it?
What should you
So can you tell me, should I go to Europe or not?
No, and I think for
What's
all
the intuition there?
You already have it.
You had it.
It's you already decided.
Yeah, but I'm paranoid.
Maybe you just have a team.
Could that be her psychic?
That's her
I
nudge.
don't believe it. I don't really believe it.
It could be. I mean, it could be.
You tell me. Come on, help me out here.
I can't tell somebody
John,
what to do.
if everybody is psychic,
And we are.
we're all psychic, how do we develop the kind of ability that you have? What specifically should we do?
Two things, meditation and prayer. I think it's very, very important to have a strong foundation in faith, whatever that faith might be. And I say if you stand in that column of light, then you can make sure that you're protected energetically and also make sure that you're paying attention. But I like to look at this more as a scientific type of thing, because we're all just energy. And if you look at
meditate and that
and prayer.
It's interesting because some people think like psychic, they sort of see it as like anti-faith religion.
It's really not. I think most people that you know that are psychic are very spiritual people and have some type of strong foundation in multiple beliefs and
What
faith.
do you say to those people that want to use it? They want to go, okay, I'm meditating prayer, but I want to make some money at it.
When you read the book, I was told that my tone in the book is angry, and it's more, I like to just say this outright, it's more of an authority figure, and after 25 years of doing this, trying to show that there are ethics and responsibilities of how you deliver information, how not to deliver information. If somebody's not asking you for something, you don't tell them.
Well, what you're saying now is more benign than what I've heard you say about talking to the dead and all of that other stuff right now. Intuition is nothing scary to anybody.
It's all the same, but neither is love. And when you lose a relative, there's a lot of fear that comes with that. Will I ever see this person again? Will I ever connect with this person? My job as a medium is to basically let you know that life and love are eternal.
That's very encouraging because you make people believe in an afterlife, and a lot of people need that.
That's right. And John, you know, we've been friends a long time, so thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you, John.
Members of our audience are going home with his new book, Infinite Quest. We'll be right back. Hey, have a great day. Take a little time to enjoy the view.